The content presented in this podcast series, inclusive of text, graphics, images, or other material, is intended for general information purposes only. The information presented is not intended to substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. You are advised to seek medical advice from a trained or qualified medical professional before introducing new items into your diet or healthcare regimen.
Welcome to the Herbal Spot, where we meet and chat with persons in our community who have embraced our local plants and incorporating them into living lifestyle and even business. Today, I have with me Andrew Marshall of Meadows in the Sun Wines. And Andrew states that Meadows wines are made with care and passion from fruits, leaves, and flowers grown locally. Andrew, I happen to be a great fan of you and your products, but could you share with our audience what really led to the story of Meadows in the Sun wines?
My story is kind of unique because I never thought of going into wine as a business, but from a very small age, I like to do things with different materials, plants, vegetables, and all those things. So I was into installing kitchen equipment and ventilation, and then this job took me into Grenada, where I saw a woman, an old lady who was selling wines. Bear in mind, I always wanted to learn to make wines, but at that time, I never had the idea of how to make them. I tried things, I buy books, but nothing never worked because the books I was buying was like how to grow grapes, even though it said winemaking, they was like more telling you how to grow grapes and the time to reap the grapes and that kind of stuff. So when I was in Grenada, I saw this old lady and she was selling these homemade wines. And I asked her, do you make your wines? She told me, yes, she made her wines. Her husband died and left the recipes with her, so she continued. And she gave me a recipe, and I came back to Barbados and made my first 5 gallons of Carambola wine. Her recipe was like 1.5 bottle of water, boil it in, all these other little things. And then it went from there. So after that, I was supposed to open the business name as Innovation Barbados because it was me and two other guys, one from India and one from the USA. And when I went to open, or when I registered rather, they told me to come back within a week for a certificate. But when I went back, they told me that name had already been taken. So it was like I had to start all over again. I then said, okay, I will go for Sunny Meadows. And then they told me that was also taken. So that's where Meadows in the Sun. When I turned around and got to the door, my mom told me, Andrew, go back and see Meadows in the Sun. So I went back and see Meadows in the Sun. Everybody laughed and they told me to come back. And the name was given to me. So that is how that name and business really began.
That's a really lovely story, stretching from Grenada back to Barbados, and actually you working with a team in development. I really like Meadows in the Sun because it gives us a sense of brightness, a sense of you capturing the sun in your products. And from my perspective, I think that you really have done that. I would like to ask Andrew, what then gave you the confidence to develop this wide range of wines that you have? Because I'm not sure how well the audience is, or rather, how familiar the audience is in exposure to your product. I mean, you've got some amazing wines. Would you like to tell us about that, about the range and what gave you the confidence to develop that range?
Yeah. When I came back to Barbados, like I said, I began to make carambola because I have a few carambola trees. And then I decided, well, okay, if this is the only tree, well, I have a lot of fruit trees really, but I decided rather than to just go into carambola wine, let me think of something else. So I used my brain a lot, and I thought of breadfruit, I thought of pear, I thought of just about anything you can think of. And then I did some research and realized, something, wine can be made of anything. So I then went into flowers, leaves of different types of trees and everything. And that is how I come up with those different wines. Then I started to do a lot of herb wines. I do peppermint, I do ginger, blended herbs. So it's just a matter of thinking and putting myself in the right line and order, and these things do flow.
Thank you. Yes, I was amazed the first time I had a glass of your aloe wine. I obviously have never been exposed to these herbal blends in wines, and I was really taken aback by the quality of that. It was fantastic on the palate, and it was just so very exciting to be drinking a wine from a plant that is so important to us locally, because everyone on the island, I do believe, and that is not an exaggeration, understand the importance of aloes to us as a people. I do believe that we all have in our background some influence from members of the family as it relates to our knowledge about plants and their importance to us. So could you just share with us a little bit, Andrew, in terms of who in your family would you say you would consider to be the storehouse of knowledge as it relates to plants, other than yourself?
To be honest with you, I don't even think there's anyone. I remember as a kid, maybe 5 years or so, my mother would go and pick a few grasses. I call them grasses because, we used to go through this fast time. She would pick a few things and come back and boil tea. We had some clamacherry and what we call Christmas bush. But that was about it. These other things came from me by just, like I said earlier, thinking and formulating things on my own with the grace of God, I got to say, and the knowledge from God.
Okay. Again, that's really great to hear. But we see that your mom still had some of that tradition, and that is always good to see, the extent across our family, as this knowledge is so vital when we know what we can get from the plants and then go about and make use of them, other than for visual appeal. It always piques my interest. So again, Andrew, I have to tell you that the verbena wine is another of my favorite, made from blue vervain. But which wine do you consider to be your most unique? Which one do you have maybe some special attachment to, from what it took you to take it from idea to the final product?
About the verbena wine, that was another inspiration from the Almighty, because I went one I went with the Cliff restaurant, and there was this guy, he was there, and I wasn't feeling well. I can't remember what was wrong with me, but I wasn't feeling well. So I told him I wasn't feeling well and I was going home. And he said, "No, why don't you use some blue vervain?" And I said, I never used that yet. So he went and picked a few pieces and give it to me and tell me I go home and boil out and drink it. So I brought it home. I did put it down, I didn't use it. But then I decided, something, if this is good for one thing, it can be good for another. So I decided to get some blue vervain and do the necessaries to make wine. And then that is where that idea came. Now, believe it or not, that is one of my top wines as well, because it's very relaxing. When you use blue vervain, you can actually, don't care who third you feel, you can actually sit and relax it. Actually, don't care who you give it to, they tend to love it and feel quite satisfied with it. So, but that is how that idea came. And that is one of my unique wines as well. Also, the peppermint wine, then there's the GCG, which is garlic, cayenne, and ginger, which is very nice. People buy that by the bottles of 3s and 4s because they claim it do help them with their allergies. So I also prove that, and everybody who I had sold it or give it to, they testify to that. So those are some of the unique ones they have.
Amazing. So we could say then that your brand of wine is offering a service, not only the pleasure of having a beautiful crystal clear glass of wine, but also offering health benefits. And I think it's a real plus for your product. So this quick chat is to let persons know again about our community, our persons out there who have been innovative in embracing the value of our local plants. And again, as we heard earlier, that your wines are made from fruits, leaves, and flowers, all grown locally. So how can our listeners, Andrew, get a hold of these amazing products that you're offering?
At present, my wines are at Meters. That is the most place that I carry wines to now. Or you can contact me at 232-9573. Or you can call 429-4588, which is the landline. You can get a number of wines, a different wines. You can get blue vervain, aloe vera, mint. I have one called Platino Verde, which is made from green banana, and a number of other wines, fruit, vegetables, whatever. We have ginger. So just call the number 232-9573, and my wines will be relatively available.
Fantastic. I also want to let our listeners know that the Biocultural Education and Research Program that is obviously hosting these quick chats under the Herbal Spot will be having a fair towards the end of the year or early next year. And of course, we intend to have you there so that you can display your range of wines and offer a sampling. And we hope that persons will give you some good product sales. I want to thank you so much again, Andrew. Whenever we do call, you do show up for us. And I believe in your product, your wines, and I want to wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you too, and likewise the same to you. And I look forward for all your endeavors.
Great, thank you. Bye for now on the Herbal Spot.
Thank you and bye.